Hey, welcome to the Virgo channel. My name is Laura if you're new to the channel, and I am going to do a general message for Virgo. Know that energy is fluid, roles could be reversed. Just interpret the message as it best resonates. Never force anything. Take what you need, leave the rest. You know the jazz. Now, anything of any importance you'll find in the description box. You'll always find my other YouTube links, my website link, my Patreon link, and if you're someone that is looking for shadow healing, you definitely want to check out my Patreon page, my shadow healing coaching program. I incorporate inner child healing, shadow healing, reparenting, and all the healing modalities to help you heal from the effects of psychic trauma. Now, psychic trauma is from any trauma, by the way, any trauma that we go through. There's a psychological aspect. So we actually even have spiritual imbalances like that within our relationships. Relationships can create emotional trauma that impacts the way that we perceive ourselves, the way that we deal with relationships. And that's how karma is actually established. So that's why we always like to look at those elements too within the reading. I don't just like to look and see what your person feels about you, what they're going to do, what they have done, what they will do. I like to look at why, because then you can understand why you're attracting a certain person into your life. You want to know why you are matching a vibrational match to certain people that come into your life that may not be treating you in the best of ways, or they may trigger you in a way that you're like, I love this person, but they also trigger the shit out of me. So it's to help you diffuse triggers too, because once you change your perception on how you're viewing a situation, it allows you to do different things to get a different outcome. And one of those things is not be triggered. Okay, now without further ado, if you want to enter into winning a free reading with me, you have to be ready to get a shadow reading, number one. Number two, you need to like the video, subscribe to the channel. And right now you want to do all these things, as well as write the word of the video in your comment bar. The word of the video, by the way, is also going to be how the video starts. Why I was saying that you really want to do this right now is because I'm choosing a lot of winners. I'm not just choosing one winner a day. I'm choosing multiple winners a day because I really don't want to do lives when no one's on while I'm growing the channel, because it's like I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to air. You know what I mean? So it's like I'd rather prefer to do a reading live with a real person on the other end so that other people will join in and, again, listen to the story and hopefully resonate. Because again, it works that way too. Energy is fluid. You're going to always get the message that you need to hear, even if you're not the person that's getting the reading. If you showed up, if you heard that reading, it was a message also for you. So again, right now I'm doing that, and the word of the day is going to be maliciousness. You're going to write the word maliciousness in your comment bar. Maliciousness. Like I pulled that card the other day too. I'm feeling as if someone's afraid that you're malicious. I feel like they used to perceive you as malicious. Now all of a sudden they're perceiving you differently. I'm feeling as if now this person, when a wounded person, you're in connection with somebody that is wounded, and they perceive everything through their own psychic perceptions, and they're based on the experiences that they've gone through. And I feel like the experiences that they've gone through were not the easiest when it came to relationships. They were non-forgiving relationships where I feel like this person had a really harsh upbringing. So if they did something wrong, it was never just forgiven. There was always like a little bit of, and I also feel like you, Virgo, grew up in an environment that was similar. Like if you did something wrong, it was not just explained. You were not nurtured. You were like, really, you were punished.
And there was an essence where it lingered, where it wasn't just over. It was like maybe your mother or your mother or either your father, again, the parental figure, maybe not even a parent. It could have been, again, anyone that raised you, an authority figure from a young age. When they got mad, they were not, like, they just couldn't let things go. And I feel as if you're in connection with someone that tends to have that same attitude, and sometimes you have that attitude too. So there's lessons of forgiveness. So you're in connection with a soulmate, but I feel like it could be a past life karmic mate. It also could be a twin flame we're going to see. And we can tell which is which by whether a person does the work, the shadow work, whether they do the healing to change their perception, to take the appropriate actions. That's the only way. So we can meet someone that is a divine counterpart. However, if they don't want to do the work, there's still a divine like connection. They are not our counterpart. They're a karmic mate. And that karmic mate is, it's called karmic because it's dependent on what you do. So if you're dealing with a person from a lower vibration because they have a lot of wounds, well, you obviously never can come from a low vibration. You're not going to get the results that you want because you're coming from a place of fear. So I'm feeling like this person also comes from, like, they're not as evolved as you. So we're going to see how that plays out. I always like to tap in first and see again why spirit's directing a certain reading. Because believe it or not, that one card has a lot of information on it. And two different vibrations, again, tends to get angry, holds on to angry. So they have a big ego, has pride, doesn't like to show emotion, doesn't know how to really let go, has a really hard time forgiving. I'm grateful for the spiritual lesson. So this person is very aware that this is a spiritual connection. I feel like it's because they perceived you as not letting go, when really you're just mirroring, I feel like, what they do, you know? And they've never met a person that can stand their ground. I love you. And I feel like the reason why they also love you, and I'm not bursting your bubble, it's like I truly feel that this person loves you because you taught them something, you showed them something. And it's also, they are attracted to you. Obviously, a person doesn't stick around long enough to learn the lesson unless they're attracted. There's always passion. That's the fire element that helps transmute those wounds, those spiritual blocks. If you both decide to, again, step into the divine beings that you are, and that's by doing the work. So this person is becoming aware of that not only are you someone special to them, but that you are part of their path, that you are supposed to be in their life, but they're totally afraid. They think that they like completely fuck things up. And it's because they were perceiving that you were being this energy malicious when they were really being that way. So it was a little bit tit for tat. And they really thought, I think, that you were going to cave. So remember, the time is what it took for this person to realize. I look for you everywhere. Yeah, because they're afraid to be vulnerable. They're afraid to be vulnerable. We've been getting a lot of that lately. I'm becoming a better person. And then I say a lot of the times, what does that? Unconditional love makes us stop to look, to see things through someone else's eyes, through someone else's perception, which means I feel like this person got triggered a lot about what you did, even though I don't really feel like you did anything. I feel like you expressed love to them and would ask them questions, obviously, but nothing that was prying. But this person has been in relationships where I feel that jealous people, people that were on a lower vibration than they were, again, people that didn't have really an identity, made their identity, and wanted to control them. So
this person tends to get overstimulated. And when asked a lot of questions, and that happens when we're not confident in ourselves and when we've gone through a lot of bad experiences to begin with, what'll happen is we'll always transcend back to the original time, and that emotional response comes up. So your person freezes a lot of times when people come at them. And I feel like they never really know what they're doing because they're not really strong within themselves. And they're not strong within themselves, and you can't be if you're holding on to this energy maliciousness. Just being near you is intoxicating. A lot of the same parts that I got the other day. I'm not gonna lie. If there's a sense of this person really needs to step into it, because this reading keeps coming out where it's almost like there's a sense of really being able to see the difference between you and other people, a sense of the fact that you can make them feel a certain way that no one makes them feel a certain way. I feel like this person felt that they were emotionally dead inside, and that you like created something, and it was through the way that you live, it's through the way that you hold yourself, it's the way that you navigate through your life. It's not that you have expensive things, or it doesn't mean that you don't have expensive things, but that's not who you present yourself as. You don't have a full sense of who you are, that you're really a true person, and this person has never met anyone like that, and you feel like home. So it's very terrifying to them. It's teaching them about divine femininity or divine masculinity, again, depending on who you are. And that doesn't mean that you're a gender. It might mean that you're have more of the divine feminine or more of the divine masculine. But a lot of times I come up as divine masculine in my readings, and it's because I have a lot of, again, that energy for business, for logical thinking, for analytical thinking. So it's, again, you're getting a person that usually thinks differently from you. Again, love teaches you, but teaches you through the divine person that comes into your life to teach you. So this is intoxicating because your person was spiritually like sick. That's what I feel like. When a person doesn't like who they are, they're spiritually sick. Because obviously your habits and your conditions, and the condition is, again, part of a habit and just things that you do on a psychological and emotional and every other level, are in alignment with not liking yourself. So this person wasn't manifesting good life experiences. And I feel like it's not a money thing. This person makes money. It's a spiritual thing. That way, I feel like they were spiritually sick. So of course they have energy. They have a lot of energy being around you. It's air, because chi is the divine. Spirit is chi. It's the Holy Spirit. It's ubiquitous. God is ubiquitous. It's inside of you. When you're teaching someone through the way that you are, this person is learning and they've never seen anything, but they were like almost like suffocating because they didn't have it. So if you feel like home on top of it, it just feels right. I wish I could share my good news with you. I feel like they're changing a lot in their life. I feel like they're changing a lot in their life, but part of them, it's funny because I don't feel like they were superstitious. If anything, I feel like they could be someone that like followed dogmatic practice. And it wasn't even that they went to church or a temple or whatever, is that their family did. So they grew up with people that did, and that's their, so it's not like, but it's almost like they don't want to jinx themselves because, like I said, they don't believe in superstition. But then here you are, you're very spiritual and you do all these things. So you're showing them a different perception of life and how to create your life, and that you're happy. And this person wants to be happy, and they're not living happy. I love you unconditionally. And it's like, believe me, they tried not to love you unconditionally. They did not want to love you conditionally. Why? Because relationships are hard. It means that we have to compromise. It means that we have to be vulnerable. This person had a distorted perception of what relationships are, because they have a distorted perception of who they are, but it's also because of who raised them. So it's who raised them, and then what has happened is they've only dated people that have had lived the same way that their parents lived. So they were like reliving like their parents' story. Instead, it was them with the partner. And that story would play out as codependency. It would play out as really where the person was not happy. They always felt like they had to escape because the relationship was built on lust. It was based on physical attraction. It was based on outside things like the job that the person had, or the way that they looked, or what they perceived, but not a connection, not a soul's connection. Now, you hold a very strong key to this person's life. So we need to be like, well, what's in it for you? Not to be like, okay, like, let's face it, this person's on a little bit lower vibration. They step into your energy, they're raising their vibration. But we need to say, what is it? What's the point? Like for you, because we know with the universe and God's law, it's always equal. It's not like you're going to do everything, and unless you do something bad, unless it's karmic, like you didn't learn a spiritual lesson, where I feel like your person didn't learn a spiritual lesson forever, and they kept getting in the same type of relationships that this type of energy would play out, which was toxic. It's codependency, it's trauma bond, and they wound up in a trauma bond relationship. That when that happens, we're in a karmic contract now for like 10 years, 5 years, 8 years. It's a long time. It could be 15 years, it could be 20 years, it could be 30 years, it could be a long time, where the person, it doesn't want that, but it's almost like they're dependent on it. It's almost like because the karmic makes that person believe that it's being with someone that's very spiritually sick, and that's someone that gaslights all the time, someone that's like a covert narcissist, is someone that they always wound up in a relationship with. So this person can have narcissistic traits where you're like, I feel like this person has, well, they can, but they do because they've been around this energy. When you've been around this energy, you only know how to deal with things in this type of way, which is what continues that karmic cycle that keeps a person stuck. So what is heals? Well, we know what heals. The universal panacea, the magic pill is unconditional love. That's, again, I love you unconditionally. I'm excited to tell you about my news. I was never excited to tell anybody about anything. That's what I feel like this person is like, and it's exciting. I'm imagining. And I feel like this person also isn't coming to you because they don't, if you reject them, there's a sense that they won't make it, that they want to do and get everything into place and then contact you instead of. So this is going to require some sort of patience, I have a feeling, which that could be something that you need to work on, is what again, it's a trade of Christ. It's a trade of, again, of unconditional love, of patience, and it's a hard one that we all deal with. Now let's see, what is Spirit telling us? I'm looking for a way out of this situation so I can be free. That's, I feel like, your person. That's we are coming into union. I feel like because this person feels you, and that you could again just be thinking of them from time to time. And I also believe when a person really cares about them and they think about them all the time, they're tapped into their energy. They don't really, you may not be tapped into them all the time. This is this person's perception, but I think that they're coming into union because they remember that you had unconditional love for them, that you did care for them, and they can't
perceive you to be any other way. And now that they have released their blocks and they're seeking a way out of their situation, which I don't know what their situation is. I need you to trust me and believe I am working towards a union with you. So it's again, I believe that they are just connected to like karmics, and maybe not one person, but like family karma. Um, a relationship could be part of that, but it's not even a love type relationship, it's obligations. Like your person has obligations. And this is what happens too when we are in a covert narcissistic relationship, which is what I believe that your person was involved in. What happens is that your person wound up feeling that they had to do everything for that karmic. And the karmic makes them perceive that they have to do everything, like it's their job to do it if they're a good person. And because your person didn't like love themselves enough, obviously, they did it. They did it continuously until like now they're like, I don't want to do this anymore, but they don't want to just walk out. I feel like they're that type of person that likes to set everything up and like, dot every I, cross every T. So if it's family, they're going to sit down with their family and they're going to tell them. If it's a partner, a business partner, they're going to sit there and they're going to like really end things with whatever strings, whatever life that they're attached to. Because I feel like this person's energy was bleeding into all areas of their life. And they didn't feel good about themselves. And it was mainly not because that they haven't done the work, it's because who they chose to keep in their life. And so you are that spiritual lesson. You are that person for them in their eyes because of it. And what I feel like you need to learn patience. That's part of it. And we'll see what else. I had too many expectations of you. I was selfish and focused on myself. I didn't care about your needs. And I feel like that a lot of times, and this doesn't mean that you're a selfish person. However, if you're wounded and you haven't gotten what you needed, unconditional love, you attracted a person that was emotionally not really available. And this person really wasn't, because they didn't have full control over their life, it looked like. And it also looks like to me that they just didn't, they were attached to karmic things, which didn't allow them. So they didn't like, it's not that they didn't have feelings, they had feelings, but you had this expectation that they, because of that connection and because of that, knowing that they were going to be able to, that they were this perfect person because they present themselves as that. And they might be able to be that person for you. They just can't be that person for you with 1,000 other people in their life. So a lot of times the moral to the story is when you meet your twin flame, a lot of times it's right before a major transition in your life. It's like, or at that time of a major transition in your life. Like there are changes and on both parties. And that could be a divorce. So your person, I feel like, is breaking away from karmic situations. And I'm not even feeling if it was married, there was no love in that marriage for a long time, which happens in a covert narcissistic relationship. The person is just numb. They're there, but they're not. They're going through the motions. They have a lot of behaviorisms to deal staying in that situation to make sure that they get their emotional needs met. I feel like this person met you during that time, that they were still connected, but there was no real love, but there was a lot of obligations. And so they always knew that they were going to leave. They never knew how. And I believe that they wished that they would, but they were never really strong enough. Your love is what's making them be able to leave this situation. And for you, like I said, they obviously bring something to the table. Otherwise, the covert narcissist wouldn't
be holding on to them as much and making them do everything. So there's finances and there's other things that they do. So this person will be coming into your life and helping you also once they end this cycle out. And that is going to require patience on your part. So I'm going to leave that there, Virgo. If you resonated with this message, let me know. And until then, be true to you. I love you all. And thank you for your comments. And I wake up every morning and I look for them. It gives me the encouragement to keep going. You know, sometimes we all need that healing, right? I mean, just because I'm a healer doesn't mean that I don't need healing. All right, I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.